Good evening. This is CTV News for Friday, July 13th. I'm Patricia Vallone. Glad to have you with us tonight. Well, firefighters from nearby jurisdictions are brought in to quell a massive blaze in a Silver Spring apartment building. The 3-alarm fire started shortly after 7 this morning in the 14,000 block of Castle Boulevard. Luckily, there were no injuries, but many residents have been displaced and 17 people had to be rescued from the burning building.
About 7:23 this morning, Montgomery County Fire Rescue Units, along with units from Prince George's County and Howard County, were dispatched for a building fire in the 14,000 block of Castle Boulevard. They quickly arrived on the scene. They did discover a fire to the rear of the building on the ground level, extending to the upper floors and into the attic area. They had immediate rescues both on the front side of the building and on the back side of the building. And we're looking at about 8 rescues that Montgomery County Fire and Rescue employees performed, along with some first arriving police officers also helped out with rescues again on the front balconies and rear balconies of this building. In total, we're going to have approximately 36 units that are going to be damaged or displaced. We're going to have about approximately 74 people that are actually going to be displaced as a result of this fire.
You know, the hook and ladder came and the ladder went up and you know, they plucked them off one by one. And then I came around the back of the building, and that's where the whole tragedy was at, because fire was shooting at least 30 to 40 feet into the air. And it looked like a scene out of a movie. You know, it was very terrifying. You know, there was nothing I could do but just stand there and watch it burn.
Investigators say the fire was accidental, possibly sparked by an electrical malfunction in a first-floor unit. Damages are estimated at $1.5 million. Well, Prince George's police make an arrest in yesterday's fatal shooting in Brandywine. 57-year-old Francis Washington Jr. is accused of killing his cousin, 69-year-old Thomas Washington. Officers were called to a home in the 11,100 block of Crossroad Trail about 4:30 p.m. on Thursday. Authorities described the incident as a domestic-related homicide that stemmed from a dispute over a spare tire. Washington is charged with first-degree murder and is being held at the Department of Corrections on a no-bond status. Well, Prince George's police are taking to social media to stay connected to the community. Today, residents had the opportunity to talk with Police Chief Mark McGaugh via Twitter at a Tweet the Chief event. Followers can tweet their concerns, crime tips, and traffic and accident updates at PGPD News. McGaugh says this is a great way to stay in touch.
I present the tweet to the chief, and then he gives me the answer, but it's generally not in 140 characters. So the challenge is to whittle down all of that information into, actually it's less than 140 characters because we have to fit in the hashtag tweet the chief.
Tweet the chief allows us to reach more of our community. Like I said before, a lot of individuals don't watch 6 o'clock news. A lot of people don't subscribe to newspapers, but they tweet all the time. So it allows us to reach a larger segment of the community. To
be clear, this is obviously not to replace 911, but this is just another way to stay in contact, to be accessible.
Right. No, it certainly doesn't replace 911 by any means, but again, it's another form, another vehicle that we can build relationships.
And again, to follow the Prince George's Police Department, log on to Twitter and search for hashtag PGPD News. Well, 2 Maryland lawmakers are urging massive fines against Pepco and BGE over power outages following last month's storm. Senators Jim Rosapep and Brian Frosch want state utility regulators to impose fines of $100 million on both companies for economic damages suffered by homeowners and businesses. The fines would fund a reserve of trained workers to end long power failures. The June 29th storm left an estimated 1.3 million customers without power in the D.C. area. Last December, Maryland regulators fined Pepco $1 million for failing to fix problems that led to frequent outages. And we are continuing to follow a story we brought you yesterday about hundreds of people evacuated from a Riverdale apartment complex. Residents were told to leave their apartments early Thursday morning because of excessive water damage from the derecho storm 2 weeks ago. Officials say that 43 of the 65 units are now habitable. Renovations on the remaining units are expected to take at least 3 months. Meanwhile, the temporary shelter at Bladensburg High School will remain open for those residents who are still displaced. There are 115 days left until the presidential election in November. Volunteers for Barack Obama are working hard across the country, including right here in Prince George's. Today's senior advisor to the president, Valerie Jarrett, stopped by to thank supporters in Largo. CTV's Sonia Srivastava has more.
Well, Valerie Jarrett has known the First family for 21 years, and she currently serves as President Obama's senior advisor. So when she showed up here in Largo today, it was certainly very exciting for the volunteers. They were just in here making phone calls, and all of a sudden someone so close to the president shows up. So it was certainly energizing for this campaign. Now, she tells us that Maryland is important, but they are today focusing on Virginia.
Fired up!
We welcome you to gorgeous Prince George's.
Thank you for everything that you're doing. The other side is going to have all this money coming down from who knows where, because they don't have to tell us where it comes from. And they're going to spend all this time on television advertising these negative commercials. But you know what? We have you. This election is actually more important than the last one. Our country is even more polarized. We need somebody who will force us to come together, to see that together we are one, we are stronger. This is one country, and this is one country that he wants to lead forward in a positive direction. And you're here today because you believe in that. You believe that ordinary people can do extraordinary things.
We can pretty much count on Maryland going with the Dems, not so much with Virginia, so we're trying really hard to connect with Virginia folks who haven't quite made up their minds, and we want to help them make up their minds to vote Democratic as much as we can. So there's many hundreds of thousands of phone calls to make, hundreds of thousands of doors to knock on, so we need a huge number of volunteers here in Maryland to help us do that work in Virginia.
She's, willing to come out here and see our volunteers just shows how dedicated she is to the campaign and to, re-electing our president.
It made us feel really respected and valued, and that's important for volunteers.
Now, Jarrett tells us that she will be heading to Virginia tomorrow, where she'll meet President Obama. Now, if volunteers are still interested, this office here in Largo will open at 10 in the morning, and it is not too late for volunteers to sign up. In Largo, I'm Sonia Srivastava for CTV News.
And the Prince George's Democratic headquarters is located at 1101 Mercantile Lane in Largo. We're told those wanting to help can just show up in the morning, and there is no need to pre-register. And you are watching CTV News. I'm Patricia Vallone.